Birdhouse Dynasty show and tonight's live coverage of our Birdhouse number 4 league draft live right now. It is the 12-team best ball start 2 tight end with a .75 tight end premium league. We'll get right to the draft board here for you. There we go. So we've had some deals go on so far. The 101 was traded. Fantasy Reaper sent that one. Let's get the draft started now. There we go. We sent that one to Havdi, who is on the clock now. He got a 3rd and 4th round pick for Havdi's 1st and 8th rounders. All right. Now, I had the 104 pick with Matt English. We traded back for a 2nd rounder, and we got a future 1st. So Brock Bowers goes number 1 in this 2 tight end, .75 tight end premium. Not shocking at all there. Now Jaden Daniels went 102, and we're on Mojo. Okay, so we are on the 104 here, which was our pick. Josh Allen went at the 103. So Mega Toast was trying to get Bowers at 102, but didn't land him. Now the question is, how soon will Trey McBride go? So it's on Ramzak now. He is in the draft, yes. Okay. And Lamar goes 104, Chase goes 105. We're at the 106. So with the two tight ends starting, it's going to be interesting how early all of these tight ends get selected. Now, we're on the 106 and Hergot. Does he go quarterback? Or there it is, Joe Burrow. Okay, so now we're at the 107. Ramczak getting his second selection here in the first round. Scoops up Justin Jefferson. All right, so if you scroll down, you can see what picks we got from Ramczak for that deal, for him getting our first. He got our first and 12th rounders. We got his second, 7th, and 10th. He got our first, I believe it was 8th and 12th. So, and then we got his future first in 26. Yes, who wants McBride? That is the big question. Ty is on the clock here. Jefferson and Neighbors go. Just a 5-minute clock here. Looks like Ty wants to see if anybody wants to give up some big draft picks for this 109. And I don't know if anybody is biting necessarily. Cody chimes in. Ty must have done a startup yesterday because he's back in action here. Good to know. Fatigue may set in here on Ty, and we may be able to exploit that somehow. Ty is milking this one. We're just under 3 minutes now. It's not that. He's got time. And he goes ahead and takes McBride. There it is. All right. So he didn't get any offers he liked. All right, now it's up to Kyle at the 110. No surprise there. Two tight end format with 0.75 tight end premium. Not shocked at all that we had both tight ends going in the first round. All good, Ty. What happened in last night's draft? Just went late. All right, so it's on Kyle at the 110 here. right, we're back. I apologize there. Just had to get a door shut. Okay, Bijan goes at the 110 to Kyle, and Genty is followed up right away by Justin, the best ball Bruni. All right. 6+ hour live auction draft. Start 2 defenses. Oh, God. That is brutal. Live auction. And the least parody startup I've ever seen. Yucks. Well, at least you got yourself a league there. Should be fun. Sounds like it will be. But hopefully this one's a little entertaining as well. Like I said, the most entertaining part here for me is where all the tight ends go. Not surprised McBride went 109. I mean, I wouldn't have been shocked had he gone earlier with the war charts and everything you look at. McBride is pretty much right there stats-wise with Bowers, so you can always argue them right together. Bowers obviously has more cachet with his name. He did do it all in his rookie season, which McBride did not, so there is that argument. But I think having Bowers 101 is definitely saying something there. All right. So we had Jameer Gibbs. Now Caleb Williams goes at the 202. All right. So that is the 6th quarterback off the board. We'll get into that, that tier of young quarterbacks. Caleb Williams definitely right in that mix. Just trying to get the NBA back on that in that background. There we go. We got a game 7 tonight, folks. Haven't had a game 7 in 9 years. Like, they don't happen every year. You guys gotta understand the hype of a game 7. Like, it does not happen all the time. All right, getting closer to our pick here. We have the 206. That's Matt English and I running the Birdhouse squad here. First time we're doubling up on a dynasty team here. We did do this for Tigbits, for the Tigbits redraft league. We teamed up on a squad, and yeah, that one crashed and burned last year. Matt forcing me to take, well, I'll get into that when Matt gets on, because he insists that he didn't know that Lamar was on the board. But anyway, he had us take Anthony Richardson over Lamar Jackson last year, and yeah, wasn't so great. Okay, Patrick Mahomes going after CD. CD dropping to the 203. Okay, let's get on the board here. I'm gonna do it on my phone, just so I can leave this up for the crowd. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. All right, there it is, and it is on the Birdhouse. All right, who do we want here? So, of course, with this selection, you're looking at, there's some wide receivers. I don't know that I'd go tight end yet. And at running back, there's Saquon. Wide receivers, you'd be looking at Puka, Brian Thomas, Nico Collins, Drake London, Lad McConkey even. in the range here. And then quarterbacks, you've got a nice tier here with Caleb, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Bo Nix, Drake May, and Stroud. So, So we did have a trade, and that went, the 203 went to Justin, and he grabbed CD Lamb. The 208, a fifth rounder, went back to Kyle. That's interesting. That's quite a bit to trade to move up 5 spots. Wow. Okay. Second and a fifth for second and 12th. And we have another deal now. All right. Let's check out the trade first, and then the Birdhouse can make their first selection. Oh boy, here we go. So we've got an 8th and a 14th going to the Reaper, along with the 26th first. And Kyle, in return, is getting a 4th and 10th at 26th third. Wow. So moving up from the 8th to the 4th and from the 14th to the 10th is getting him an extra first round pick. Wow. All right. Well, Birdhouse has made their choice, and it is Brian Thomas Jr. There we go. All right, we're to the 208 now, and then we will select again. Sorry, it's 207, then 208, and then 209. And this is Hergot on the clock. Mike took Joe Burrow with his first selection. No, nothing special there. He grabs Puka with the second round pick for him. And now we're on Kyle, who moved back. Wasn't able to get CeeDee Lamb, but now he grabbed Bijan Robinson in the first round, and now he grabs Nico Collins with the 208. All right. And it is on us. Just making sure. There we go. Don't know if I want to trade out of this. Do like the quarterback. Yeah. We'll stick with Drake London. There we go. All right. Starting it off with Brian Thomas and Drake London. Somebody who I love the target share that he was getting from Michael Penix late last season. And hopefully that continues. It was up, I believe, at 39%, something insane like that. So Drake London definitely has an opportunity to really blow up this year. I'm not going to make any wild prediction and write it in stone that he's going to be top 5, but he definitely, there's a window that could create that opportunity. So do not mind taking the gamble on that happening at all. All right. Now we are on Mojo Forever. Took Josh Allen first round. And Mojo is generally, when I draft, I see him get the pick in the middle, and so this is a little different with him on the end. We'll see how he handles this, having Josh Allen. All right, check out the chat here. What's going on? All right, Cody, still in here? What do you think so far of this draft? I mean, is it what you'd expect with a 2 tight end, 0.75 tight end premium? I mean, honestly, the question that I have is, did McBride slide too far? I mean, if Bowers goes 101, look at what the value probably is going to be for these tight ends. I don't know when the next one gets selected. Be interesting. I don't know if Mojo's trying to make a trade here or what. I'm thinking he doesn't want to have to, he does not want to pick another quarterback right away. He might feel he has to, though. Otherwise, he's looking at Ladd or Marv, and I don't know. I don't think he wants to grab a running back. Interesting choice this will be for Mojo. Could go Ladd. I can see that. We'll see, though. And he goes Drake May. All right. Oh, no, that was, yeah, he did go Ladd. All right, my bad. Then Super Mega Toast. Jack slides in with Drake May. So he starts off with a double quarterback start here. Jaden Daniels and Drake May. Nice and young. Can't hate on that. Not in a super flex league. I mean, quarterback is super important. I don't want to say tight end is king necessarily, but you start 2 tight ends, and differences. There's not as many good tight ends as there are quarterbacks, I guess. All right, now we're doing our 3rd round reversal. Went back over to the Fantasy Reaper, getting his first selection. This has to do with it. This involves that deal with Havdi getting the 101 there at Bowers. So Havdi gets the Brock Bowers, Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs start. Jalen Hurts falling all the way to the 112. What do you guys think of that? I have not seen Jalen Hurts fall that far. And then CeeDee Lamb at the 203. Those are 2 picks that I am a little surprised on where they landed, I guess. So Reaper gets G-Dub, Marvin Harrison going to Bestball Bruni, Justin scooping him up there. So he's got a Genty, Caleb Williams, Marv start. Okay, now it's on Kyle. Kyle started out with Bijan, then made a trade back with our other Justin, JV Uncut here. And so he got Nico Collins instead of CeeDee Lamb, basically. So that's, there's no doubt it's a little tier down, okay? But Nico Collins can definitely play with CeeDee Lamb in a week in, week out basis. So I like that deal for Kyle and him getting to move up. I believe it was to the 5th round from a 10th. So yeah, I'll take that kind of deal for sure. Good work there, Kyle. And now it's on you. Which position do you want to roll in here on? Gonna hop on Saquon or maybe go quarterback? Maybe Hampton. You want to go younger running back or Achane? What are you looking at here? taking his time here. Ty DeClaire on deck, and Steve in the hole here. Okay. And it's Justin Herbert going to Ty DeClaire. Stroud went to Kyle. 2 quick picks there. All right. Next up, we have Steve. All right. And then Ramzak is on deck, and Super Mega Toast with his trade up is in the hole. Okay, so which route is Steve deciding to go here? Steve goes JSN, starting out 3 wide. Neighbors, St. Brown, and JSN. And then Ramzak hops right on to Saquon there at the 306. He was happy to see Saquon sitting there. So Ramzak with a Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley start. All right. Looking solid, spread out there for Ramzak. Okay. Now we're on Super Mega Toast, who traded up to get this pick from Hergot. Super Mega Toast in the room. Okay. I don't have to notify him. He said that I should notify him if he's not in the room. There it is. Tet McMillan to Super Mega Toast. And so he starts off with Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Tet McMillan. Sam Laporta going to Justin. And we are going to... Let's see here. Is quite a few guys here. Wouldn't mind trading back, but it's a tough call going back and forth. All right, we're gonna take our boy AJ Brown there. Always produces. All right, it's on Mojo. Ah, yes, Mojo didn't like that one. But hey, that's what it's all about, right? Sniping your boys. Okay. Hergot says he debated McBride. At 106, it was Hertz or McBride for Ty. Yeah, I would think that's what I would have debated too, with Hertz sitting there, man. I mean, I am one that I usually, honestly, a normal non-start two tight end league here, I would take Jalen Hurts 104. All right, but the most recent startup we did, I took Justin Jefferson at 105 with Kurt sitting there. I think it's just that I wanted to diversify a little. I had not ever chosen Justin Jefferson in the first round, and finally I was able to. So, got me some JJ in one league at least. Now here we're starting out with the Brian Thomas, Drake London, AJ Brown trio at wide receiver. And it's on Mojo now. Mojo has Josh Allen and Ladd McConkey. We'll see which position he decides to roll with. He got sniped, as I said. We took A.J. Brown. That's who he kind of wanted. But, you know, this point in the draft, there's still plenty of talent out there, obviously. All right. So Mojo, then we've got Super Mega Toast on deck. He is back in the room. Then the Reaper gets one pick at the 312. And then it is on Kyle. And then Mega Toast at the 402. So Mega Toast traded away his 402 and now got his 402 back. Always love seeing that. That's the sign of a healthy league when you get some activity going. And you can see here, even with only 5 minutes per pick, we did plenty of pre-draft trading. We set this league up 2 weeks ago, and people were firing trades away within the first day or two. It took a little bit, but then Ty DeClaire did his deal, I believe, with, I'm trying to think here who it was. It was JV Uncut, I think. But anyway, he did the first deal, and then the floodgates opened. We saw a bunch of deals go down. As you can see on the board here, we've got a number of trades, rounds 4 through 10, 12, through 14. We've got a number of deals. So plenty of action moving around. We've had a couple of deals go while on the clock or right beforehand. Mojo goes Bucky Irving at the 310 right away. Megatoast firing off Hampton. Then Achan for the Reaper. So nice trio of running backs hammered out here. Where are we looking at? We are 4 picks away. And we go Brees Hall and then Rashee Rice to Super Mega Toast. All right. And we're back to Mojo here. And the Birdhouse team is on deck. Which way does Mojo decide to roll here? Mojo has started off with a pretty wide variety here. QB, wide receiver, then running back. Now, Megatoast took Rashee Rice. That's definitely somebody I would have looked at. I mean, we could have contemplated Rashee Rice over A.J. Brown, honestly, with his ceiling. I mean, I love me some Rashee Rice. I got enough of him, though, that I'm not all that concerned about it. But good pick there from Megatoast, and that pick that he acquired back. Now we had a run of 4 running backs in Bucky, Hampton, Achan, and Brees Hall go there at the from the 310 to the 401. This one's a pretty high-scoring league. Not any one position in particular is getting too much action. I mean, I did mention the .75 tight end premium, but it is a 6-point per touchdown pass league. It's a full point per rushing or receiving first down, and 0.2 for the quarterbacks for passing first downs. Now, which way does Mojo decide to go here? I don't know if he's trying to work out a deal or not. Anybody want to throw me an offer for the 404? Go ahead. I mean, I'm all ears. But otherwise, I got no problem taking a pick here. All right, Jonathan Taylor. So, this is interesting. Okay. So Cody's got a question here. How's it going, man? 10-team Superflex just won the league last year, so still contending. Should I trade DK, the 110, 209, and 210 for BTJ and Dynasty? Ooh-wee. All right, I will get to that one in a minute. I keep saying 0.75 tight end premium. So, yeah, but the wide receivers and running backs also are getting that So the tight ends are actually only getting 0.75 extra. All right, Cody, I'll get to that question in a minute here. Just trying to debate who to take here. I'm just waiting to hear back from Matt if he has any preference here. There is quite a few options for us right now, so nobody wanting to trade back. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Take my boy Baker. There we go. Let's get this thing moving. It's on Justin. All right, so get the one quarterback along with the 3 wide receivers to start here. I'll take that start. Yes, it was a homer pick for sure. But Baker can run a little. Baker can definitely run more than Jordan Love or some of the other quarterbacks that that go in this range, and so I'm taking that into account with the it's an extra point for rushing first down, so he'll have a few more of those than some of these other quarterbacks. I don't know. Baker's still plenty young. Plenty of stackable options later on. And plus, I took Baker in the Birdhouse 1, and everybody gave me shit about it, and he ended up winning me the league last year, so there you go. Now I know that was last year, so fine. If you want to give me a hard time about it, go ahead though. Yes, it was always Baker. And Ty clarified things. It actually was 1.75, top of half point PPR, right? So 2.25 PPR for the tight ends, 1.5 PPR for running backs and wide receivers, thus making it 0.75 extra for the tight ends. That's why I'm calling it 0.75 tight end premium. I know there's different ways of saying it, but I'm looking at it like tight ends are getting 0.75 extra for a catch. That's how I like to say it. All right. And ties on to me. Yes, it was always Baker. All right. T. Higgins goes after Jordan Love. Jordan Love went to JV Uncut. All right. And then Hergot grabs T. Higgins. All right. So Hergot's start now after trading back. He's got Burrow, Puka, and Higgins. Now we're on Ramzak here, who got the start of Lamar, Jefferson, Barkley. And so now we'll see where he goes. He did not have his second rounder. That's what he gave to us for being able to move up and get Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, sitting on Brian Thomas for that move back. Okay. Ramzak is on the clock. And look, Baker, you can tell me that that was a homer pick, fine. But if you look at the numbers, go ahead, bring it up. I'm not gonna move the draft board here, but you go ahead and look. And Baker was amazing last year. Now, yes, did he lose Liam Cohen? Sure. But we promoted the quarterbacks coach, so we're running the same system. We added a first-round talent wide receiver in Mecca Ibuka. And so, look, I think Baker's going to produce again. I don't know if he'll finish top 5, but you know what? It's going to be close. And it's best ball, so I don't mind the fact that, you know, a lot of the big weapons are stackable later on. So I look at that. It's not everything to stack up in best ball. I mean, generally tight ends getting with your quarterback, that looks nice. But you know, especially when you're talking the good wide receivers, like the good wide receivers are going to score good points just about every week, right? So it's not a huge deal to stack them up. You know, shallower leagues, those are where I actually like to stack up, especially in best ball. But as far as looking to gain an advantage somehow, that's where in a smaller best ball it looks good to me. Steve grabbing the 4th wide receiver, Travis Hunter. Thought about Hunter big time with my pick. Again, it's where stacks would come into play. I have Brian Thomas Jr. already. Then we'd be looking at almost having to get Trevor Lawrence, and I just didn't see that as a very likely possibility. And there you go, Trevor Lawrence going at the 409. So, yeah, that wasn't going to happen, especially with us not having a pick in the 5th round. So, I don't know. I didn't want to have to scramble to try and trade up. That just doesn't. You don't want to be scrambling for trading up in the middle of a draft, especially one where the timer is shorter. Like, it would have been nasty trying to trade up to get Lawrence. All right, now Kyle's on the clock. Kyle's pick so far, you can see here. So he got the Stroud Nico stack, which is nice, and then he's got Bijan and Breece Hall at running back. So which route does he decide to go now? Okay. I just want to take a look at that trade that Reaper and Ty Declare did. See what that deal was. Here we go. That deal was done. Oh, I see. That was a deal that okay, now we're back on here. Sorry about that, folks. Let's get the board back up. There we go. All right. So we had Lawrence and then Travion Henderson and Brock Purdy go. Purdy we also thought about grabbing. Let's bring up the chat here. Okay, Cody, let's address yours first. So, Cody, your question was 10-team Superflex just won the league last year, so still contending. Should I trade DK the 110, 209, and 210 for Brian Thomas Jr. in Dynasty? Well, okay, it's a little bit of a loaded question in that I don't know how many starters you need. Is it, I mean, if it's just a start 9 or start 10, then yes, I'd say go after Brian Thomas in that. If it's start 12 or more, then I would probably hang on to DK and the picks. But if it's start 10 or less, then Cody, yeah, go ahead and make that deal to grab Brian Thomas Jr. All right, we just had Devonta Smith go to Havdi there. And if anybody could type in the chat, I just want to make sure that everybody is seeing the board again and the broadcast, because I had to back out. Something happened to the connection. I don't know if it was because of the length of the broadcast and it was lagging. I'm not sure what happened there with Riverside, but anyway, here we are. We are at the top of the 5th round here. Things are moving along swimmingly here. We're at 55 minutes in. This is going a little quicker than the Birdhouse 3 draft, but might be, some of these guys are pretty quick with the trigger, and that's good. Everybody's ready. We've made quite a few deals, even though we're only 5 minutes per pick. There's been a couple of trades done just today on the clock, so that's awesome. Here we go. Havdi. Let's take a look at Havdi's squad right now. He's taken the second of his back-to-back picks. There we are. Havdi, of course, traded up for that 101 to get Bowers. So now, and then Hurts fell all the way to him. So great value there on Hurts. And so he's diversified completely, one player at each position right now. Let's see which route he decides to go with the 501 pick. There we go. It's all good. All right. Thanks, Steve, and Mike, and Ty. Appreciate it. All right. So we are looking at that range. When it gets to the 5th round, this is where generally, and whatever, I'm just going to throw it out here. This is generally where I look to trade back, because there gets to a flat tier, flattening out of tier of players. Now, there's still a few that may have fallen, and I can say, yeah, there's probably a couple of little nuggets here that have fallen still. But at the same time, like if you trade back just a couple of rounds, you're not really losing a whole lot. There, if you want to play the war game, then yes, there's definitely a couple of dudes who stand out. But if you're just looking to build build out a team for Dynasty wise, like for multiple seasons, then not as much, right? So, and Havdi grabs his second quarterback in JJ McCarthy. All right. Good pick, Havdi. All right. So, we will be coming up at the 6:04 and 6:05. Okay, DJ Moore going at the 5:02 to the best ball Bruni. Justin jumping on to DJ Moore to add to his wide receiver room with Marvin Harrison. So he got the stack he wanted there with Caleb. All right. Okay, so now what route do we want to go? We are picking at 6:04 and 6:05. Kyle is up now, and Kyle's draft so far. Bijan, Brees Hall, trade Deion Henderson. Now he jumps on Xavier Worthy. All right, so with his stack of Nico and Stroud and trio of running backs, he drops Xavier Worthy into the room. Okay, now we're back to, yes, to Ty. See where he's looking at. Ty declared from DD Fantasy. Where is he looking so far? His draft, tight end and 2 QBs. Does he finally grab a wide receiver? Does he go running back, or does he get his second tight end here? Which route does he want? Okay. Next up, we've got Steve on deck with his 4 wide receivers, and then Ramzak. Ramzak, of course, the one who traded up and got Lamar, as well as Jefferson in the first, and added Saquon and Kyler Murray now. Okay. I don't know. I can't complain. We got 3 good wide receivers and Baker at quarterback. Like, I know Baker isn't as young as some of the others right ahead of him, like Herbert, Stroud, Bo Nix, Drake May. Throw Caleb Williams into the mix there, but he's pretty much similar age to Mahomes. And there it is, Ty DeClaire jumping on Kittle. Surprised Kittle didn't go after I thought about taking Kittle, but 404 just seemed, I don't know. I mean, in this format, you can't argue with anybody picking a tight end, really. Start 2 tight end and 0.75 tight end premium. So there it is. George Kittle going at the 504. All right. And we're on Steve. 4 straight wide receivers for Steve. Which route does he want to go? So let's talk about Kittle at the 504. So Kittle, obviously, a little older than, the other top 3 tight ends that have gone in Bowers, McBride, and Laporta. That said, his insane efficiency you cannot discount. And so now, he did get some more production when the injuries occurred to Ayuk last season, but I think Kittle produces regardless of the health of Ayuk. Like, he just is a monster in the open field, and you can't stop that. Jared Goff going to Steve grabs his first quarterback, and now we are to 506 and the Ramsack Nation. All right. And then we have Hergot going at 507, then Kyle with an extra pick he picked up earlier from JV Uncut, I believe. He moved up from the 10th round. And then we'll see JV Uncut with a pick in the 5th round. So even though he lost his own 508, he does have my 509 pick. And that was part of what I received in the deal from, let me think. I moved back, got the 6th and 8th. And I gave him my 509 and 1004. That's right. So I moved up 2 rounds from the 10th round to the 8th. And I moved back 7 picks here. 8 picks, however you want to count it. So, yeah, I don't mind it. It's all one big tier at this point. Like I said, this is a range where you can trade back and pretty much feel good about it. Okay, back-to-back tight ends go Tyler Warren and TJ Hawkinson. So the Kittle selection started a little run here on tight ends. Okay. And we're to Kyle and re-educated here. So Kyle's squad looking like this right now. 3 running backs. It's Stroud, Nico Stack, and Xavier Worthy. Okay. There we go. And Cam Ward off the board. Kyle. Quick trigger on Quinshon Judkins for Justin. All right. And we are at the 510 and Mojo. All right. Which way does Mojo want to go? Mojo's squad so far holding strong, no deals. So Allen McConkey and back-to-back running backs in Bucky and JT. All right. So we again are at the 510. Mojo has all of his draft picks so far, hasn't made any moves there in that regard, which is fine. I don't hate you if you're seeing value at your picks. Like I'm in this other startup right now, and other than trading back from my third to a fifth to pick up an extra first, I have not hopped around the board. I've not been able to because there was so much value at the picks that I've been making. So like if your guy is there and you're having a tough time making the selections, like because they're all valuable, like you really got to get a trade that is valuing the players at the position, not just the pick in some trade calculator or whatever. Like you can't just plug in, say 510 right here if you feel that there's 2 or 3 players that are worth more than the 510, right? So then you got to make sure you're getting that kind of value in the deal that you're trying to come up with. All right, so Mojo on the board here. We've got, at least according to Sleeper's ADP, there's 6 running backs in Kyron, CMC, Jacobs, James Cook, Henry, and Chase Brown. Then a couple of receivers in Rome, Terry McLaurin, then back to a couple of running backs in RJ Harvey and Walker. Okay, top quarterbacks on the board, Penix, Prescott, Bryce Young, Justin Fields. Top tight ends on the board, Colston Loveland, Dalton Kincaid, Mark Andrews, and Kyle Pitts. So that's where we're at. Wide receivers, Rome, McLaurin, Zay Flowers, Ibuka, Jordan Addison, Chris Olave, and DK Metcalf. Okay, so we are looking here. Be interesting which way Mojo decides he wants to roll. Mojo looking to squeeze every second out of this one he can. We're at 1 minute for Mojo. And he chooses Chase Brown. All right. Colston Loveland then goes off the board. And we are back to the turn, the 5-6 turn with the Fantasy Reaper. Now the Reaper has moved all over the place. He did not want that 101 pick. Sacrificed a little value probably in the deal that he made to get out of that, but you can see here, definitely doesn't look bad. He gained Garrett Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and a first for what turned into Brock Bowers, essentially. He did give up his 8th. That'll be coming up, but yeah. Now he jumps on 2 wide receivers, getting Rome Odunze and Zay Flowers, so you can see his squad now. Lawrence and Nix, quarterback, Achane, and then 3 wide receivers. All right, we are back to Hergot now, who scooped this pickup from Super Mega Toast. And so there we are with Hergot's selection. Okay, so got 2 picks coming up here. Dak Prescott going to Hergot, and Justin Fields going to Mojo. He must have thought I really wanted Fields there, huh? Okay, now we are sitting on a couple of options. Well. Oh boy, this is interesting. Well, I'm going to do it. Don't love it, but yeah, I'm going to do it. There we go. And we'll grab that Christian McCaffrey in the 6th round value. I'll take that. We'll try it out. There it is. We took McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry goes right with the next pick. So I haven't been taking much McCaffrey. I'll be honest, it scares the living shit out of me. But, sometimes the value is there, and you just, whatever. I'll go for it. I'm not scared. I have McCaffrey on quite a few other teams, I'll admit. And yeah, I'm hoping he stays healthy. Because when he does, he's a freaking Hall of Famer, okay? And yeah, he literally is a potential league winner. Tons of bonus points in this league, and so yeah, I'm gonna jump aboard the train, and we'll let it rip. All right, then we get Terry McLaurin going. So there's the old dudes. Back to back to back. CMC, Henry, and TMC, if you will. All right. Well, I took McCaffrey, the guy that nobody wanted. And there it is. Steve jumps on Josh Jacobs. So, yes, here we go with the old men. And there's Kyron. Kyron just somebody I cannot get on board with. I don't know what it is. I feel like just can't get on board with Kyron. And yeah, some of it is definitely his pre-draft capital, right? Being a whatever he was, 5th or 6th rounder. But I just feel like he's going to get hurt, and the Rams are not going to invest in him, so he's going to end up in some other offense next year. And I just don't love the investment. I don't know. But 609 is good value. I'll say that. You know, especially after what McCaffrey, Henry, and Jacobs just went ahead of him. Like his ADP is definitely ahead of those dudes, and he can score a lot of points. So here we go. This was a round of the running backs, basically, right? We had the little trio of quarterbacks go at the beginning of the round. Then I grabbed McCaffrey, and boom, 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 boom. Everybody followed with the other running backs. So obviously, I'm hoping McCaffrey stays pretty healthy. But so are the other guys who grabbed Henry, Jacobs, and Kyron. Henry is like a pillar of health. So he just had that one hiccup a couple of years ago back with the Titans, and that was the only, and ironically that was his, actually statistically speaking, like per game, that was his best year. And I've been on record saying I would not doubt if Henry is the all-time leading rusher in NFL history by the time it's all said and done. George Pickens off the board after James Cook goes. So there we go. That was the round where the ugly fallers went. We had Kyron Williams finally going, James Cook finally going, and then George Pickens, I wouldn't say he was a faller. He's been rising, we'll put it that way, but deservedly so. I mean, he's going to the offense with Dak Prescott throwing the ball. You got CD over on the other side, probably getting double teamed most of the time. And so look at that. Ty DeClaire jumping on the running backs back to back with RJ Harvey and Caleb Johnson to team up with Kyron in that backfield. Ty shying away from the wide receivers as you can take a look at his squad. He's coming up with the next pick. Here's Ty getting the double tight end, double QB start, and now grabbing 3 running backs. Here's Re-Educated, and so we've got Kyle up here with 4 running backs after grabbing James Cook last round, and now we've got Stroud and Cam Ward there, so it'll be interesting to see which way Kyle decides to go this round. And so I've got the 706, 708, 805 coming up here. Okay. Now, he goes Tyreek Hill there, Bestball Bruni. So he's got a wide receiver room of Marv, DJ Moore, George Pickens, and Tyreek now. Quite the foursome there at wide receiver, I'll say. And then Genty up top, Caleb and Purdy at QB. Nice start there. So now we're on Kyle. And does he go another running back? We'll see. Ty on deck, and then Steve at the 7:05. All right. Oh, looks like I gotta make a pick. What's up, T-Man? Kid had to come down and make a little pit stop down here and grab his iPad. All right, so go ahead and make my selection in the other league I'm in. Jordan Addison goes off the board to Kyle. All right. Okay, then it's Chuba Hubbard, so Ty loading up on those running backs early. Okay. Now we are on Steve. And Steve's pick so far, 4 wide receivers to start up with, Jared Goff and then Josh Jacobs. Okay. Interesting. Who does Steve want to roll out here? Ty does not care about wide receivers. Early on, at least. I'm sure it'll come a point here where he'll rattle off 10 in a row, but yeah. For now, he has no interest. And it's Kenneth Walker going to Steve. All right, so now the birdhouse is on the clock, and I have pick here and then Hergot, and then I am back on the clock. So let's see here what there is to offer. Interesting, but I'll pass. Did get a trade offer, but not one that I'm overly excited about, we'll put it that way. Okay. Okay. So I am going to, yeah, we're good. Go ahead and grab JMO there at the 7:06. Look, JMO and his promising end to last season, getting a bunch of more targets, so that's where I'm going. Grabbed him in the previous startup that I just did last week, and I was pretty excited about it, so yeah, I'll add JMO to our wide receiver stable, if you will. Here's the squad so far, so BTJ, London, AJ Brown, Baker, Penix, McCaffrey, and JMO, and DK Metcalf goes. So I got strict orders from my co-owner Matt. He's having dinner right now, and strict orders to not draft DK Metcalf in this league. So thank you, Hergot, for getting that off of my chest, because I would have been very, very leery that I would have felt. Considering we're almost halfway through the 7th, are we just going to fast draft to 10, or are we going to stop at round 10? That's a good question. What do you guys think? I could stay on till 10 if you guys want to keep fast drafting. But if at round 10 you want to start slow drafting and there's enough of you that want to, go ahead and just put in the chat that you want to move it to a slow draft. I'm all for it either way, honestly, but I got no problem. All right, we're back on the clock here. Okay. Ramzak votes slow after the 10th. Yeah, that's what I was kind of leaning. I think it's a little, I don't know, I feel a little weird. I feel a little strange staying with the quick draft that far through. I think we wanted to go to a slow draft, and that's what the route is that we're gonna go. Well, we got another pick coming up at the 8:05, so with that in mind, let me think here. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. We got plenty of time. We were supposed to go till 10 o'clock here. We got plenty of time. Let me think about this one. Steve says let's do fast draft through 12. It's not a bad idea, but let's think here. Ramzak, if you want to chime in on that possibility, go ahead. Boy, this is a big turn we'd have here. Yeah, I'm going to do it. All right, here we go. We already took McCaffrey last round. Let's do it. We're going Kamara. All right. Okay, so Steve brought up round 12. We could go fast draft through. What are your guys' thoughts? I have no problem doing either way. Ramzak or Hergot, I know you're on the East Coast. If you want to quit at 10, I totally understand. So, what are you guys thinking? It is on Mojo at the 7:10, then Super Mega Toast, Jack at the 7:11, and then Brandon at the Fantasy Reaper at the 7:12. And we got Jaden Higgins off the board at the 7:10, and then Ricky Pearsall, the 7:11 to Super Mega Toast. All right. We got quite the first quarter going in Game 7 here, 24-22. OKC over Indiana. Last possession here, winding down the first quarter. So we go Chris Olave at the 7:12 to the Reaper. And we're now on Havdi for his pick that he got in the trade for the 101. It went 101 and the 8th rounder for a 3rd and 4th plus a future first. And he got Brock Bowers there at the 101. And Ibuka goes to Havdi. Oh. All right. Thought hard about Ibuka at my pick, but with grabbing Kamara, now it just built on the Christian McCaffrey pick the round earlier. That's all. Okay, now we're on Hergot here at the 8:02. Okay. Hergot's team right now. Let's bring that up for you guys. Take a look at Michael Hergot and his squad. So there we go. Burrow and Dak at QB. Puka, T. Higgins, and DK at wide receiver. TJ Hawkinson at tight end. And then Derrick Henry, the big gun, at running back. Okay. And then Hergot will have a pick right away at the 8:06 as well. We'll move pretty quick with or without a clock, yeah, for sure. But we aren't getting through 28. Yeah, like Ty said, I'm sure it will keep moving for a bit, even being slow. I'm fine either way. Yeah, no, that's a good point too. We can just cut the feed here, or we can I can keep the feed rolling actually, and just keep going with our picks. Jalen Waddle there going to Hergot at the 8:02. Yeah, I'll just keep this rolling, but we'll back off the clock, so if need be, people can put their children to sleep. But shout out there for all the Dynasty dads. Please, all of you out there watching, be sure to hit the like and subscribe. You can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show, for all help, questions, whatever. You get plenty of rankings. I'm there daily checking out the Patreon, so let me know. That one's just $3 a month right now. And then if you want, you can also buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com. That will get you any question answered almost immediately. So, yes, I'm all ears. And we are on Mojo Forever right now. Then we got back-to-back coming from the Birdman. All right. What is Mojo looking at here? And we are all tied up at 25 in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Like I said, does it really get any better than this? What is Ty thinking here with 6, 7, 8 of the last 9 picks being wide receivers? And there's their tight end Mason Taylor going off the board. Okay. Which route do we want to go here? La 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 la. So pick again. This makes this one more tough. But at the same time, not really. All right. We're going to go Bryce Young and Mark Andrews. There we go. All right. Now it is on Hergot. And Bestball Bruni is banging the gong. That's right, the QBs and tight ends are back, for sure. Start scooping them up. All right, it is on Hergot's squad. Again, he just made the pick with Jalen Waddle. And so we've got he's got Waddle as his fourth wide receiver now. Hawkinson as tight end one. And then Burrow and Prescott. And then Derrick Henry at running back. Okay. Now I got a message from the co-owner here. It's on there. Hergot went Jerry Jeudy. Okay, good pick there. I like Jeudy. Okay, so Jeudy goes to Hergot. Now Hergot is sitting on his 5 wide receivers, and we're at Ramsack Nation. Okay, so Ramsack is sitting on a squad like this. He's got his 2 QBs in Lamar and Kyler, then 2 wideouts in Jefferson and McLaurin. Then Tyler Warren was picked before that. So Ramsack hasn't picked in a while. So he's probably pretty happy to go now. Yeah, just Saquon at running back. Okay. Then coming up after that, we'll have Steve. And Steve's pick so far. He had the 4 wide receivers to start things out. Took the value on Hunter at the 408. Good value, definitely. Then Jared Goff and Josh Jacobs, as well as Kenneth Walker. Okay. Now which route does he decide to go? Okay. So back to Ramsack. This is who's picking right now. Hard to say with which position he should go. It's more up to him which one wants to go. There it is. Ramzak went Mike Evans. Okay. And then Steve with the quick trigger on Tucker Kraft. I thought about taking Tucker Kraft, I'll be honest, when I took Bryce Young, but wanted that QB3. I like building out at least 3 quarterbacks strong, and without picking again till the 904 there, I wasn't sure what was going to be there at quarterback, and it didn't like it. So, yeah. All right, so we're on Ty to Claire now. Ty with DD Fantasy. Starting off with the 2 tight end, 2 QB build. Since then, he's gone 4 strong running backs, and now he adds Jackson Dart to the room. Tua going to the Reaper then with the quick trigger on Tua. And so now he has his trio of quarterbacks. So the quarterbacks flying off the boards here. And we've got Justin Bestball Bruni on the clock here. Does he decide to grab his 3rd QB? Maybe his first tight end? Maybe another wide receiver? Or add to that stable with Ash Genty? Okay. And he goes Jonnu Smith getting his first tight end. All right. So yes, the format definitely coming into play here with Jonnu. It's 2 QB or 2 tight end, 0.75 tight end premium. So yeah, can't blame him at all for doing that there. All right, now we're on the turn at the 8-9 with Havdi. Havdi's squad. He's made a few deals, swinging it for the 101 and getting Bowers, and grabbed Ebuka at the 801. And now we've got, so he's on Hertz and McCarthy at QB, and then just Jahmyr Gibbs and Devonta Smith at wide receiver. Or sorry, Jahmyr Gibbs at running back, Devonta Smith and Ebuka at wide receiver. Which route does he decide to go with his back-to-back picks here? Okay, interesting. And he goes back-to-back wideouts, Luther Burden and Devontae Adams. Okay. both ends of the spectrum there. Rookie and the vet, Devontae Adams. Okay. And DeAndre Swift goes to the Brunei. So he adds to his running back stable, and now we're on Kyle. Okay. Joe Mixon. All right. So it is on us. And which route do we want to go here? So we're sitting on 3 QBs. We've got the one tight end, and then good foursome at wide receiver, and then Kamara and CMC at running back. Well, OKC up 5, 6 minutes to go in game 7, second quarter. Well, man, this is a tough pick here. All right, we're gonna go James Conner. I gotta step aside for a minute. All right, I'm back. How we doing? So, James Conner goes to us, and then Sam Darnold off the board. Okay. Now we are on Ramsack Nation. There we go. Okay. Okay, so Darnold goes to Steve. So Steve's team here, he's on Goff and Darnold as his two quarterbacks. And we're back to Ramsack Nation. Ramsack grabbing Mike Evans last round, so he's sitting on Jefferson, McLaurin, and Evans. Okay. In round 9, halfway through, we're at 8 o'clock Central Time. Looking good time-wise. Okay, then Hergot is on deck. His squad, he's at 4 wideouts. Henry at running back, Hawkinson, and then 1 QB in Joe Burrow. All right. Sorry, 2 quarterbacks. He forgot he's got Dak and Waddle over there. All right, so then we had Pacheco and Montgomery go. Pacheco going to Ramsack, and then Hergot going with the hometown David Montgomery pick there for the Lions. All right, and now we are on JV Uncut with back-to-back selections here in the 9th round. Okay. Route does Justin decide to go? He hasn't had a pick in a while, but now he's got 2 back-to-back. He is sitting on Chase Seedy and Matthew Golden at wide receiver, Sam Laporta, Jordan Love at And now he adds Dalton Kincaid to the mix. So Laporta and Kincaid. And then grabs Scattaboo. So Judkins and Scattaboo in his backfield. Going young. Definitely going young. All right. And we are on Mojo here. Mojo, no deals yet. So Josh Allen and Justin Fields at quarterback. Mason Taylor's last round selection, first tight end for him. And then we got Super Megatos coming up. Super Megatos sitting on the young tandem at quarterback, Jaden Daniels and Drake May. Then Omarion Hampton and Ted McMillan, 2 rookies. Also with Rashee Rice and Ricky Pearsall, so quite the young squad there for Megatoast. All right. Okay. Bring up my squad here again. 3 wideouts to start. Brian Thomas, Drake London, AJB. Then 3 quarterbacks in Baker, Penix, and Bryce Young. Added J-Mo there to the wide receiver stable, and then McCaffrey, Kamara, and Connor, along with Mark Andrews at tight end. All right. We are still on Mojo. Mojo, there's the squad there. Super Mega Toast again, pretty young squad. And then the Reaper coming in with a pretty young squad himself, yes. Okay. Game 7 of the NBA Finals at 40 points apiece. 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Alright, 2 minutes now for Mojo. Still on Mojo here, down to 1 minute. Mojo's squad here again. Josh Allen, Justin Fields, Ladd McConkey, and Jaden Higgins at wide receiver. 3 solid running backs in Bucky, JT, and Chase Brown. And then Mason Taylor at tight end 1 for now. All right. Next up will be Super Mega Toast, who will get on deck here. There we go, and Mojo goes Matthew Stafford, getting his 3rd QB. So lining up Josh Allen, Justin Fields, and Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Okay. And here is Mega Toast and his board. So he drops in Trey Harris to Mega Toast. Then the Reaper quick trigger on Brian Robinson right away. Let's see who he goes. Actually, it's on Kyle now. Sorry, forgot he went ahead and he made an earlier deal with Reaper to get that pick. Okay, so Reaper sitting on the trio of Nix, T-Law, and Tua. And then at wide receivers, got G-Dub, Roma Dunze, Zay Flowers, and Chris Olave. Some good discount there, I'd say, on Rome for sure. Could even argue for Chris Olave as well. Then at running back, he's sitting on Achane and Brian Robinson now. Okay. And we're on Kyle. So, Kyle's board. There we go. Got the stack. Nico and Stroud. Cam Ward as well. Quarterback, Bijan, Brees Hall, Travion, and James Cook, along with Joe Mixon now. 5 running backs strong for Kyle. Then at wide receiver, he's got Nico, like I said, along with Xavier Worthy and Jordan Addison. And he goes Cortland Sutton here for his 4th wide receiver. Okay, back now to Hergot at the 10:02. Hergot's team sitting on Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott at quarterback, TJ Hawkinson at tight end, Puka, T. Higgins, DK, Judy, and Waddle at wide receivers, and Henry and Montgomery, along with now Tony Pollard at the 10:02. All right. Hergot coming up with 2 more selections here in the 10th round. He made some deals, wheeling and dealing his way up to a couple extra picks in the 10th. All right. So it's back to Mojo here. Mojo's squad quickly. There you go. So come the end of this round, guys, I will take it off of slow draft, take it off of fast draft and go to slow draft. We'll put it on 4 hours, and I will make the clock pause at, we'll just say 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., okay? And of course, you can still make selections. We are on Mojo. Okay, Hergot next, then 2 picks, and then we're up. Hergot is next, then Justin, JV Uncut, then back to Hergot, then the Birdhouse Dynasty Show, then Steve, then Havdi with a pick where he'll have a selection, then 2 picks, then he gets 2 more, so he'll have 3 picks out of 5 there coming up here at the turn. Kyle at the 10-10 and Justin, the best ball Bruni, at the 10-11. All right. Just waiting on Mojo here. All right. There's our squad. Mojo again. 3 QBs now, 3 running backs, 2 wideouts, and tight end. right, and we're at the half. Indiana holds a 1-point lead in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. 48-47. Pacers in the lead. With a 3-ball right before the half. Mojo milking it down. 1 minute to go on the pick. Hergot waiting in the wings. And there we have it. Jake Ferguson going to Mojo forever. All right. And Chris Godwin to Hergot. And we're on Justin. Are on Justin. Here's Justin's squad just to bring it up. Sitting on Laporta and Kincaid. Then Judkins and Scadaboo. And Laporta. And then Golden, Ceedy, and Jamar Chase. So Jordan Love, his lone quarterback. And he goes Anthony Richardson rolling the dice at the 10:05 on A-Rich. And we're back to Hergot here. Grabs Njoku for his second tight end. And then we're on Ramzak Nation. Oh, I'm sorry, it's on us. Jeez. Oof. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to figure out who to take here. It's interesting here. There is our fourth quarterback, Geno Smith. So there we are now on Steve. Steve sitting on Goff, Darnold, along with that quad stack of receivers. Then Jacobs and Kenneth Walker. Now Kyle Pitts and Tucker Kraft at tight end, and then Goff and Darnold at QB. Okay, so the QBs have dwindled down here. Not many starting QBs left, which is why I went ahead and grabbed Geno Smith. You got to kind of play the board, and so the QBs are being valued. We'll put it that way. You can see here our QBs. We've got Baker, Penix, Bryce, and Geno. This gives us the opportunity now to pretty much, I don't know how you could say it, we pretty much put any of these guys out on the block, or we're willing to trade any of these four. That's the benefit of having four. Otherwise, we'll just roll into the season with four. I have no problem with that either. But you can see the rest of the squad for wide receivers, pretty solid there. And then the old trio of McCaffrey, Kamara, and James Conner in the backfield. So that's what we're rolling out right now. And we have Mark Andrews at tight end. Okay. And we're on. Nope, it's not Ty. He traded this pick to Havdi. Again, Havdi having quite a few picks coming up now. Oops, there's his team. So Brock Bowers at tight end. Then Hurts and McCarthy at quarterback. Gibbs in the backfield. Then he's got Devonta, Ibuka, Luther Burden, and Devonta Adams at wide receiver. Okay. So, which route does he decide to go now? Should be interesting. Now, we'll pick. Yeah. Havdi jumps on Jaden Reed. There it is. Okay. And now we're on Kyle with his last pick in the 10th. He took Cortland Sutton at the 10:01. So he's got Nico, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Anderson, and Sutton at wide receiver, Cam Ward and CJ Stroud at quarterback, and then Mixon, James Cook, Brees Hall, Travion Henderson, and Bijan Robinson at running back. Okay. And he grabs Travis Kelce at the 10:10. Okay. Old man Kelce, just what can you say? Guy just produces. All right. Best ball, Bruni. Justin up here at the 10:11. Okay. He goes Najee Harris. So he adds to his running back stable with Genty and DeAndre Swift there as well. And then you got Najee Harris. Now we're to Havdi. With his back-to-back picks here at the turn, we'll switch the timer, like I said, once he makes his first selection. Here at the 10:12. And I expect these guys to stay on and continue drafting pretty quickly here. Majority, at least, are still on the, yeah, still in the draft room, so I think we'll get quite a few picks here yet tonight. There it is, Travis Etienne. I will switch the timer here. 4 hours should be good. Auto pause. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And there we go. And there you go, Havdi. You've got 4 hours. Okay. Didn't take long, though. Grab Pratt Fryer. Okay. And there goes Evan Ingram. And we're on Kyle here. Let me move the board up here a little for you guys. As yes, we are into the 11th round. There you go. You can see. All right, Kyle is up. With Ty DeClaire waiting on deck, and then Steve in the hole. Okay. So you can see Ty's squad coming up next. There's Kyle's squad. Yeah, just grab Kelce. Now he's got 2 quarterbacks. Ty with that 2 QB, 2 tight end start. For wide receivers, Kyle decides to grab the falling Brandon Ayuk. Good value on Ayuk. Thought about taking Brandon last pick, but decided to jump on that fourth quarterback to have some trade bait afterwards. We got 2 more months before the season starts, so gotta have something out there to wheel and deal with, right? Okay. Now Steve on the clock here. Steve's squad. Ramsack on deck. I'll let him know. So Ty took Isaiah Likely, then Steve grabs Josh Downs, and Ramsack, there he is. He's in the draft room. And then Hergot's up, and then Ty is back up. So Josh Downs goes to Steve. Again, his squad here. He's got the 4 wide in Neighbors, Amon-Ra, JSN, Hunter, and now Josh Downs. Jared Goff and Sam Darnold at quarterback, and then Tucker Kraft and Kyle Pitts at tight end. All right. Now we're on Ramsack here. There you go. See the squad. Lamar, Kyler. Then Tyler Warren at tight end. Then you've got Mike Evans, McLaurin, and Jefferson. And then Pacheco and Saquon in the backfield. Okay. Which route does he decide to go with? Who knows? Then it'll be on Hergot, and then back to Ty DeClaire. And then on the Birdhouse. Okay, so. Okay, and so there we go. Ferguson went. Oh, bag of toast, didn't like that one. All right. There we go. Okay, so Ferguson went, then Shakir, Then Jacoby Myers to Ty DeClaire. Finally grabs a wide receiver. Okay. And we're up here, so we're going to grab... Yeah. Let me just make sure here. Nothing special is sitting there. You know, you always want to double check, right? Okay. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and grab. There we go, Dallas Goedert. Okay. You know, in a start 2 tight end league, I am totally fine with Dallas Goedert in the 11th. That's all good. Okay, now we're to Mojo. Okay, so now we're back to Mojo. Mojo's squad looking here. Straight down the board. Josh Allen, Justin Fields, Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Running backs, Bucky, JT, and Chase Brown. Then wide receivers looking at Ladd McConkey and Jaden Higgins, and Mason Taylor and Jake Ferguson at tight end. All right. Okay. Well, we're still ripping through these rounds pretty quickly. I mean, I change it to a 4-hour clock and look at these speed demons. Likely, whether you get a lot of play out of him or not, he has that ADV value there because he's in an offense where they play 2 tight ends so much, and whether or not Andrews stays there or leaves, likely he's going to be there. Or I got to check out his contract actually. Isaiah Likely's. Here we go. Let me see. He is an unrestricted free agent next year. Okay, should be interesting because Mark Andrews, I think, needs a contract as well. So it should be interesting things for the tight ends there in Buffalo. All right. And we had the Reaper rattle off 2 tight ends, Brenton Strange and Theo Johnson. So no messing around here. That's in position. Jack Besh going at the 12:02. And then the 12:04. So, sorry, I missed a couple picks there. Calvin Ridley going at the 11:10 right after I took Goddard. Then Kyle Williams at the 11:11. Brendan Strange and Theo Johnson. Then Jack Besh at the 12:02, and we're at the 12:03 back to Mojo. All right. Okay. So, all those of you out there, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe if you're watching. Okay. And Jawan Jennings, solid pick there at the 12:03 to Mojo. So he scoops up Calvin Ridley and Jawan Jennings here later-ish. And it's back on Ramzak. So Ramzak going Turd Ferguson with his last pick. You can see his squad there. So Saquon and Pacheco in the backfield. He's got Lamar, Kyler at the helm, and then Tyler Warren and Turd Ferguson at tight end, along with Jefferson, McLaurin, and Mike Evans. All right, so Ramzak here with 2 picks coming up. This pick, then 2, and then Ramzak. Right. Probably hang out here until the end of round 12 and then cut her off. Any other questions though? Cody, I hope I helped you with that question earlier you had, which was basically a bunch of stuff, including DK and the 110, to be fair. For Brian Thomas Jr. I did like that deal for you. Everybody that watches me knows I love DK, but at the same time, we got to be realistic here. You know, Brian Thomas, especially in a 10-teamer, that demonstrates a different level of player, right? DK is like a flex option in a 10-teamer. Brian Thomas is a stud, young, got the pedigree. Like, yeah, I like that deal all day. All right. So we're hanging out here still. Plenty of guys all in the room. They're ready to draft. We're just waiting on Ramzak here. Just interesting to see which route he decides to go. He could go any route, really. Love the way this draft has gone. You guys have all been picking very, very quickly for the most part. Obviously, we only got 5 minutes for the first 10 rounds, but since then, you know, round 11 has gone pretty much just as quick as the other rounds. So, guys doing a great job. kudos. Kudos to you all. Yes. All right. Bayshul Tootin, Scootin' Tootin' off the board. One of my faves. Nice pick, Ramzak. All right. Pretty much knew I wasn't going to get him anyway, so no problem complimenting him there. Then we have Cooper Kupp coming off the board to Ty Declare. He's willing to take a swing on old man Cooper. Why not? Grabbing these late wide receivers now. Grabs Jacoby Myers and Cooper Kupp. And now we're on her. Back to Hergot here. Hergot is sitting on Khalil Shakir from the last round. Godwin, Waddle, Judy, DK, T. Higgins, and Nakua. Quite the load at the wide receiver position. Joku and Hawkinson at tight end. Henry, Montgomery, and Pollard looking good for Ramzak. Hergot, he grabs Tyler Shook there, one of the last remaining quarterbacks. We don't know if Shook is going to start, but he seems to be the leader in the clubhouse. We'll put it that way in New Orleans. Somebody's got to start. Somebody's got to throw the ball when they're down. So there it is, Aaron Rodgers. Definitely, likely the last starting quarterback on the board. Ramzak grabs him as his third QB behind Lamar, Kyler, and now Rodgers. There it is. Okay. So now we're on Steve at the 12:08. Steve's squad, straight down the board, grabbing value that falls. Zach Charbonnet now to add behind Kenneth Walker. So it's going with a handcuff, and Ty grabs Debo Samuel. So he's going old school. Debo, Kupp, and Myers. Not bad, say that. All right. Kyle, back to him. Grabbing Ayuk, decent value last round. Ayuk, Sutton, Addison, Xavier Worthy, and Nico in the wide receiver stable. Plenty of running backs, and he grabs Aaron Jones. Oh, sorry, that was JV Uncut. My bad. He had the pick from Kyle. So grabs Aaron Jones there. Now he's got Jones, Scattaboo, and Judkins in his backfield. All right. Probably was hoping that Rodgers fell to him, but didn't quite happen. Now we're on the best ball. Bruni, back to him. He's got Caleb Purdy. He did take Genty with the first pick, so he's got Genty, Swift, and Najee in his backfield. Then Marv, DJ Moore, George Pickens, Tyreek Hill at wide receiver, and Jonnu and Ingram at tight end. Okay, which route does he decide to go? Pretty even squad, evenly balanced squad so far for the best ball Bruni. All right. And then we'll have Havdi. All right. Want to thank you all for joining tonight. Again, hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, be sure to tune in tomorrow night for our recap of the first few rounds in this league. We're going to do that for our mock draft Monday. I'm just going to take a look at this draft, see what's happened, take a look at some of the squads, go over those for you to help you see how you can build out some of your squads. Lots of good drafters in this league, lots of experienced players. So this was a very solid draft that went on. So yeah, good times here tonight. And let's see what we've got here. Oh yeah. Thank you, Ty. Thank you very much for joining in tonight. It was a blast, honestly. Quite the interesting builds. We've definitely got the way we see teams have set up their squads. There's going to be some strengths and weaknesses, plenty of opportunity for guys to trade around before the season starts in 2025. I mean, we got two months till what, it'll be the middle of August. Preseason will be up and running, and we'll have plenty of opportunity to see how some of these NFL squads are deciphering their backfields, doing whatever. And then the wide receiver rooms, some of those will be clearing up as far as the depth projections in the wide receiver rooms. And then, of course, there'll be a couple of quarterback battles that are going on that we'll have a little clearer of a picture maybe by the middle of August. Yeah, just 3 preseason games for the squads this year, just like the last couple of years. And so, who knows? A couple of years we might only have 2 preseason games and 18 games in the regular season. Can't wait for that. I'm fine with an 18-game regular season. However, I do want the NFL to give these squads 2 bye weeks then. I don't see why not. Like, it would make the regular season 20 weeks long. I mean, what is the NFL scared of? Just play games on Labor Day weekend. I mean, you're going to dominate the ratings. Just do it. Do not understand being scared of that at all. All right. Yeah, guys, this has been a great time with you all tonight. Learned a bunch. This was a little different format than I'm used to with the 2 tight ends starting. Just had another startup with a massive tight end premium as well, so we got to see a lot of tight ends go in that format. This one, it's just 0.75 for the premium, so we'll see. But anyway, you still had start 12. There's still a lot of other positions, so definitely some strong teams at every position here, and should be lots of fun seeing how the rest of this 2.5 months goes before the regular season happens. Why is the clock at 4 hours? Kyle, we adjusted it after round 10 to 4 hours. That's why. So, because we had said we were just doing 10 rounds at 5 minutes. Yeah. And just because I'm broadcasting doesn't mean that we had to keep it at 5 minutes. Thankfully, all y'all have decided to stay on board, and we've kept it rolling. And so it's been a bunch of fun, even these last couple of rounds. That's right, Steve. We are still moving. Okay. And Justin, I'm sure, will make his pick here. He's been in the draft room, so he's just trying to debate here which way to go. know Justin is over there on the East Coast. So Kyle, who picks at the 13:02. Yeah, let me double check that he's got his pick. 13:03, I mean. Yeah. He may not pick, so this might be the spot where we call it a night. Just seeing if Justin wants to pick tonight. Okay. All right. I think this might do it. I'm going to check off. We're going to see where we're at tomorrow evening and give you all an update. Thanks again for joining tonight. If you haven't, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. And love you guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight. With that, remember, never stop working.